This is the world today. With internet governance, you have hundreds of millions of users making decisions every day as they use the internet. Decisions about what browser to use, what operating system to use, what websites to visit, what information to share. They are making the decisions that define the internet. Their decisions influence the services and products and software and hardware offered by thousands of competing companies that are all trying to get the attention and the money of those hundreds of millions of users. Governments are involved. They're users. They also shape the environment in which the companies work. And at the bottom here, we don't have a single institution. We don't have an ITU for the internet. Instead, we have dozens of different groups. Everything from the Internet Engineering Task Force to the ITU standards bodies to many of your companies, the registries. We have business groups setting business practices. We have ICANN. It's very confused. But the good news is that these groups are working often very quickly to develop new solutions to new problems. And they're also competing in some cases, which is a good thing. So that if one group is not responding to the needs of the users on the left, somebody else will. And that's why this new internet governance structure that we've developed has been working so well. It's competitive, it's innovative, it's open to new developments. This is a chart in which I attempt to show where decisions are being made on different internet issues. Across the bottom axis, we have the amount of government involvement. On the far left, no government. On the far right, 100% government controlled. As you go up the chart, you go from individual action to company action, national, regional, and international. And as I say, different issues get dealt with in different places. The important thing about this chart is that in most cases we have solutions. Politicians tend to look for one solution, one global answer. Techies look for solutions. And the power of the internet is that we have typically had solutions, many different ways of doing things. In the ideal case, many different ways to interoperate together. So for instance, to fight spam, we don't have one solution. We have individuals using spam filters. We have ISPs trying to block traffic that contains lots of spam. We have national laws. We have national initiatives to stop spam. And we do have some international cooperation among law enforcement agencies to go after spammers. But the important thing is that most of the action is on the left side. Most of the solutions to spam are non-governmental, and many of them involved individuals and companies doing what needs to be done. With DNS, we have a lot of activity at the regional and international level, governments and non-government all involved. With issues like online privacy, most of the action is in the bottom left corner. Individuals making decisions about how much information they'll share, what filters they want to put in place, how they want to set their browser to protect their own privacy. On the other hand, in the top right corner, we have things like trade policy and taxation. Those are government functions. They always will be. At this point, we have some interesting choices. There's a lot of pressure for what I call scenario one. And in the next couple sessions, we'll hear about how governments would like to take some of these issues and deal with them in the top right corner, make them intergovernmental issues. There have been proposals for international treaties on spam. There's a proposal for an international Bill of Rights that would define what individual users get to do on the internet, an intergovernmental treaty. I think that's very dangerous for most of the issues we're dealing with because it would tend to drive us towards one solution that would not evolve very quickly. International treaties take 5, 10, even 15 years to negotiate. Another scenario is scenario 2. And this is equally dangerous because in scenario 2, one or two global companies get to decide what the solution is and impose it on us and profit from it. I think that could be dangerous. An example there is online authentication. I mentioned all the different solutions that are being developed now. There are proprietary solutions for online authentication which could give one or two companies a huge amount of control over what you and I do in cyberspace. At the same time, there are open source, open standards-based solutions that would allow anyone to use the authentication technology and know that it would interoperate with other implementations. That's scenario 3. That's where tools are developed that allow individual users to solve their own problems, to make choices between different vendors, different software, and to innovate. And again, that's the most exciting thing about solution scenario number 3. It allows innovation, it allows new choices. So, back to the conclusions. I'd argue we're only 15% of the way through this. We are in the midst of this new paradigm shift as we go to the cloud. And this is a really big deal. And I agree with Eric Schmidt. We're looking at a world where 90% of our computing isn't done on our laptop. It's not done in the server in our basement of our company. It's done out there in the cloud. In that world, the domain name system will still be relevant, but it won't be as big a player as it is today. Because we're going to see 100 times more things, maybe 1,000 times more things that need to be identified in the cloud, connected to the cloud. Digital resources, software, sensors, you name it, it'll be out there. And people will need to find it. And in most cases, they're not going to type in a URL to find it. They're going to do something else. So pay attention to DOI, the Digital Object Identifier. Pay attention to what Amazon's doing. Pay attention to what is happening on RFIDs and ONS. And pay a lot of attention to authentication. Many of these areas are opportunities for your companies. They're all opportunities for all of us as users. Opportunities to create new innovation, opportunities for new applications. And let me finish again with the last plea, which is when you don't know what to do, when you're not sure what path to take, always empower the user. Time and time again over the last 10 years, we've seen that solutions that give users choice, allow them to innovate, are the ones that succeed in the marketplace. So thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here. I plan to be here all day. Fortunately, I have to leave tomorrow and won't be around then, but I'd be happy to answer any questions. And you have my email address, mnelson@pobox.com. Thank you.
Michael Nelson, thanks for the interesting presentation. Meine Damen und Herren, jetzt sind Sie an der Reihe. Sie und, you stay just a moment, please. Sie an der Reihe, Ihre Fragen zu stellen. Es ist immer so, wer traut sich denn als Erster? Michael Nelson hat auch das Headset auf. Sie können also gerne die Frage auch auf Deutsch stellen. Bitte der Herr in der 5. Reihe. Ja, Sie haben aufgezeigt. Das Mikrofon kommt, genau.
Elmar Knipp, hallo. Sie haben erwähnt, dass das Domain-Name-System eine nicht mehr so hohe Rolle spielen wird in der nahen Zukunft, 4-5 Jahren, wie das vielleicht heute der Fall ist und wie das viele von uns hier sich wünschen. Sie haben aber nicht erwähnt, was eventuell das ablöst. Was können Sie sich da vorstellen, was das ist? Sie haben das so nebulös genannt.
Well, let me be very clear that I'm not talking about substituting for the DNS. I'm talking about supplementing and extending the DNS. I don't think that people are going to stop registering domain names for their website. But I think that in the future, when I have 50 or 100 devices that I somehow own or control, I'm not going to have 50 or 100 domain names for each of those devices. Those may be sensors, RFID tags, maybe online resources, parts of the grid that will be identified using some kind of grid technology. So my point is not that we're going to replace the DNS, it's just that the DNS will be growing, other things will be growing even faster. And it might be the ONS, it might be the digital object identifier system. We're doing a very poor job today in keeping track of digital documents.